Like previous special sets to start the Badoo year, Ascended Heroes is a mix of new and old cards. Unlike past years, Ascended Heroes does something unique, kickstarting the next block of cards 2 months ahead of schedule. For those who don't know, typically we have 3 regulation formats in Standard at a time, but on January 29th we'll be in a rare situation where G, H, I, and J cards will all be legal. This will only last until March 26th when rotation removes all the G block cards from Standard. But the fact that it's happening is still nuttier than a professor. In total, Ascended Heroes has 217 cards before secret rares. What you're seeing on screen right now is the full list of every regular art card included in the set. As I mentioned previously, you'll find reissues of old cards that don't reset their legality alongside new cards with either an I or J legality marker in the bottom. Yes, it's slightly confusing. What you might notice while perusing the set list is a few super random cards in Hopspincer Chin EX and Team Rocket's Kangaskhan EX. These were gym promos that came out in Japan last year and have been stuck in purgatory ever since. The Pokemon Company International finally decided to give them to us, unceremoniously chucking them into Ascended Heroes. While Pinsirchin is the bulkiest of bulk, Kangaskhan is semi-viable if you've just suffered a concussion, able to deal 220 damage for 3 energy if you played a Team Rocket supporter. It's worse than Mewtwo, sure, but it's not garbage like Pinsirchin. Additionally, in the trainers section, you'll find Team Rocket's Hypnotizer. This is a tool that puts their active to sleep if they hit into the Team Rocket's Pokemon it's attached to. Sleep's a coin flip, so it's not perfect, but if it buys you even one turn, that might be enough to win. Probably the craziest thing about Ascended Heroes is that there's 10 new Mega Pokemon EX. Considering the Perfect Order is going to have just 4, and our May set probably won't eclipse 5 or 6 since it has just 86 total cards, this will likely be our most Mega packed set of 2026. Mega Froslass is far and away the best, while I personally think Meganium is next up. But tournament results suggest Mega Charizard YEX will see a bunch of play with its 280 damage snipe attack. To get ahead of all the comments that I know will pop up, for older cards from previous sets that are reissued in Ascended Heroes, I use the old art because scans for the new art won't be available until Friday. So if you're wondering why some cards have their original set markers in the bottom left, that's why. For once, it's not because I'm lazy. Also, for the same reason I had to use Japanese proxies from Pokemon proxies for a lot of the new cards, which is why you really shouldn't pay attention to the numbers in the bottom left too much unless it has the ASC set marker. Just know that thanks to Pokebeach, every card is in order for how it appears in Ascended Heroes from 1 to 217. And for the cards still in Japanese, well, a lot of them are from terrible start decks, meaning they're bad and weren't worth creating proxies for. Now, if you have OCD and must own every single copy of a card from a new set, I've got some bad news. You may have forgotten to lock the front door. Also, in addition to the regular reverse holo pattern, cards will have reverse holo ball patterns on them as well. I'm not going to do the math, but there's probably 800 total unique cards in Ascended Heroes with all the different rarities. Yeah, getting a full master set's gonna suck. I think I've blabbered on long enough to cover all the cards in Ascended Heroes main set. If you're wanting to know just the new cards, I'll be showcasing all of them at the very end of the video. Okay, while life will be tough for those who buy cards physically, those of us who play Pokemon cards digitally have suffered long enough, and things are much simpler. These are the cards you get for free as part of the new Battle Pass in Ascended Heroes, which goes live on Thursday. So from January 29th to March 26th, logging into Pokemon TCG Live gets you both a Mega Dragonite and Mega Meganium deck for free at Tier 0. The main highlight is Poke Pad, which would have been a 4 of in everyone's collection. If you're playing IRL, absolutely get a full playset because it's insane. Additionally, you get 2 Mega Dragonite, 3 Mega Meganium, and 1 Mega Eelektross, saving you 3,600 credits. The 2 Dragonair are nice, though you will want a third for 100 credits. And a playset of both the new Chikorita and Bayleef is great, it's just that they're not necessarily better than the current ones. Moving to the full crafting guide, we can skip over Poke Pad since it's free. I've already talked at length about how amazing this card is, getting any non-rulebox Pokemon from your deck for free. With Nest Ball and Artisan rotating in 2 months, it will be heavily played from that point on. And that's it for the worthwhile new trainers in Ascended Heroes. Okay, not quite, but nothing's nearly as interesting. You only need to own 1 copy of Light Ball, which increases the attack power of any Pikachu EX by 50 to your opponent's active EX. This takes Terra Pikachu from 300 damage to 350, allowing it to one-shot most Stage 2 EXs and Megas. As for Nighttime Mine, get 2. Just be prepared to eventually cut it from your list due to uselessness, just like we've done with Battle Cage. Nighttime Mine simply increases the attack cost of every Terra Pokemon by 1 colorless. This means Dragapult needs 3 energy to Phantom Dive rather than the usual 2. Or, you know, they just bump the mine with Jamming Tower and make you hate life. Finally, I'm going to say it's worth crafting 4 copies of Canari. Remember, uncommons, which nearly every trainer is, only cost 100 credits to craft on live. so it's just 400 credits for a playset of the card that makes Lightning decks much more consistent. Play Canari, discard any card from hand, go get any 4 Lightning Pokemon from deck. It hasn't performed quite up to expectations in Japan, but the combo with Iono's Kilowattrel and Bellybolt EX cannot be ignored. As for the trainers not worth crafting, up first is Anthea and Concordia. Yes, like I showed off in the Road Decks video, it could be fun to win the game with a single KO. But getting all 6 Ends Pokemon in play at once is way too much work. Looking at Thick Scale, which I'm sad they didn't spell with 2 C's, it's completely meta dependent. If Grass, Fire, Water, or Lightning decks end up dominating Standard, the 50 damage reduction to Dragons could be worthwhile. Otherwise, it's a card no one will use. The issue with Team Rocket's Hypnotizer is that it's not guaranteed to help. Sure, Sleep is extremely powerful, preventing retreat and attacking, but it's coin flip dependent. Spidops would prefer to have a Brave Bangle on it, and Mewtwo would prefer to have a Maximum Belt. But if you enjoy being annoying, here's a card that will help. Urbane, meanwhile, continues the tradition of draw 3 rival supporters that never see play. Finally, Waitress. Back in the XY days, we had an item called Max Elixir that was insane, accelerating a basic energy from the top 6 cards of your deck. Exactly 10 years later, that same effect is now a supporter. Except we already have Crispin, who's a million times better. And for Stage 2 decks, Perfect Order will introduce Rose's Encouragement. Yeah, this is one Waitress I don't want taking my order. Of the 10 new Mega Evolution Pokemon EX, only one is truly worth crafting. That's Mega Froslass EX, and you want 2 copies at 600 credits each. Remember, we get Dragonite, Meganium, and Eelektross for free on the Battle Pass, meaning they're already in your collection. Mega Froslass is great right now and appears to get even stronger post-rotation. For a single water energy, it does 50 damage times the number of cards in your opponent's hand. Considering that pretty much every single deck will have to run 4 copies of Lily's Determination once Iono's gone, which is a shuffle draw 8 early, Froslass is a huge threat. But the best part of the Mega is Baby Froslass, who evolves from the same Snorunt. If the matchup doesn't call for the Mega, you can still have upwards of 3 Baby Froslass in play who slowly beat off their ability Pokemon. And you can even spank your monkey to hurt those without abilities. Oh, and make sure you have 4 copies of the new 70 hit point Snorunt. The 10 HP increase is the only interesting part about it, but it's all the little guy needs to be awesome. If you're going to be crafting any other Megas, it's going to be one Charizard YEX. Slot it into any Terrazard deck along with a copy of Ignition Energy, now you're able to hit anyone, anywhere, anytime except stupid Terras for 280 damage. Explosion Y does force a discard of 3 energy, which is why Ignition Energy is so important. Also, while we are getting a new Charmander and Charmeleon, they aren't worth it. The new Charmander has 80 hit points, putting it out of Poffin range. The one from Phantasmal Flames with a free retreat ability and 20 damage attack for a single energy is kilometers better. It's the same with Charmeleon. The new one has 10 less HP and a harder to launch attack, so avoid both. To quickly explain why the other Megas aren't worth it, for Mega Audino it's easy. The damn thing's a 3-prize Turbo Energize. Until the TM rotates in 2 months, Audino is useless. After it rotates, well, its usefulness in a Mega Kangaskhan deck increases. But whether or not it's better than chucking in Terrapados EX with Glass Trumpet remains to be seen. Despite everyone freaking out about Feraligatr when it was first announced, it hasn't done much of anything in Japan. Yes, in your mind, it's a huge help in the Baby Feraligatr deck. And sure, you wouldn't be blamed for crafting a single copy, but it's just a little too awkward to fit into the overall strategy. As for Mega Emboar, 320 is a good number. It's just that Crimson Blast also cooks the pig for 60 damage. So like my son in music class, it's too one note and not nearly as versatile as you want it to be. Finally, Scrafty and Hawlucha. While Scrafty has seen more play in Japan than I anticipated, it's seen the level of success in Japan that I anticipated. As in, barely any. It's basically just a 3-prize Scovillain EX with Eyeliner. And Mega Hawlucha requires you to flip heads for it to survive an attack. Yet even if it does, a single Froslass can end its entire existence. Things are much less exciting on the regular Pokemon EX side. In fact, out of the 13 new EXs, I can really only recommend crafting 1 copy of Terra Koraidon EX. Put it in a Terra box deck with the Ogerpons or Evolutions alongside Crispin and Sparkling Crystal, and now you have someone who can deal with Mega Kangaskhan. In terms of potential crafting candidates, there's basically just Azumarill and Larry's to Dunsparce. If you can get a footful of Psychic Energy into play, Azumarill can use its ability to move 7 onto itself, dealing 340 damage. Unfortunately, rotation takes Sawtooth and experience share, meaning its time to potentially shine is short. As for Larry's to Dunsparce, the strategy will remain the same all year. Use 3 Kamala to load it up with 2 Ignition Energy and a random Basic Energy, manually attach another, and try to flip 4 heads, dealing 320 damage. But if you've watched any of my videos featuring coin flip cards in the past, you know PTCGL will never let you shine like a freshly lotioned foot. Let's blast through the unplayable EXs like a tissue. Erica's Vileplume has some playability, sure, but it's only going to win games if you get lucky on sleep flips. Otherwise, 160 damage and needing Meganium isn't enough. Just because I think Koraidon EX is better than people are giving it credit for doesn't mean you should craft it. Maybe if Mega Starmie's post-rotation dominance continues, it'll be our best way to deal with it, dealing 240 damage for 3 energy. If not, this spike definitely won't give me a hard-on. Now, normally it's not okay to point and laugh at people unless they've done something super embarrassing that'll become a core memory like that tool Mega Zygarde's getting. In this case, the rest of the EXs deserve all the ridicule. If you're playing a water paralysis deck that discards energy, you're choosing Weavile, not Regice. As for Registeel, I don't have enough time to explain how much worse it is than Heatran. Voltorb, meanwhile, is what happens when somebody accidentally brings their kid to work and lets them design a Pokemon card. Stunfisk Soggy Biscuit attack is harder to launch than Koraidon EX's Orichalcum Fang, meaning it has no place in any deck. Hop's Pinsirchin would be in the running for worst EX if not for Sprigatito and some of the others in this set. And Mandibuzz EX is just a worse Arbok EX that will disappoint more women than me. Finally, we have 2 EX in Togedemaru and Zangoose that would be unplayable junk even if they were single prizers. So yeah, even though there's 13 new EXs in Ascended Heroes, the fact that nearly all of them came from starter decks in Japan means they all lack competitive viability. For the non-EX Pokemon, I'll start with those worth crafting right away. If for some reason you don't already have Psyduck in your collection, get the common version from Ascended Heroes for 40 credits rather than the promo one for 400 credits. And IRL, get this common one as well, which according to the math skills of the president will be 400% cheaper than the promo one. Golduck is worth owning in these next 2 months to combat Klefki, but once that rotates, Golduck becomes unnecessary. Even if you don't plan on playing any lightning decks, you should still own 1 copy of Stunfisk. It can utilize Luminous and Prism Energy for its attack, which does 30 damage, prevents retreating, and boosts the damage the defending Pokemon takes during your next turn by 100. So somebody like Iron Hands can all of a sudden deal 220 damage with Amp You Very Much, which is hilarious. Then there's Spectrier, which you definitely want 1 copy of. While Stunfisk will continue being useful post-rotation because the effects of its attacks are great, Spectrier is good for the next 2 months, then it'll never be used again. Put 3 energy on the Ghost Horse with Gardevoir, send the damage to the other side with Monkey Dory, then snipe 12 damage counters wherever you want. Since it's damage counters and not damage, which you already know the difference of because you watch my 10 mistakes new players make video, Phantom Beat goes through any bench barrier effects. Basically, this card makes Gardevoir even stronger in its last months of existence. I don't just have those video cameras installed in Japanese card shops to stare at their feet. I also use them to see what cards people are playing. And Team Rocket's Honchkrow is shaping up to be a top deck, just not until rotation in 2 months. For a Team Rocket's energy or Ignition energy, Honchkrow does 60 damage times the number of Team Rocket supporters you discard from your hand. Toss 6, that's 360. Considering there's 20 total supporters in your deck, you can do that at least twice or even thrice if you're careful. Then finish them off with Porygon 2, who does 20 damage times the number of those supporters in your card graveyard. Murkrow already came out last year in Destined Rivals, so you really only need to craft 3 copies of Honchkrow to complete what might end up being a top 10 deck post-rotation. Believe it or not, this is the last single prizer we're crafting in Ascended Heroes. Yeah, this is definitely a quantity over quality set. Get yourself 2 copies of Zekrom, now you make Zoroark a top 10 deck pre- and post-rotation. Previously, Zoroark topped out at 170 damage unless they edged you, allowing the Fox to copy Reshiram's powerful rage. Now, Zoroark can copy Zekrom, deal 250 damage every turn, and start beating off fully. Add Binding Mochi to the mix, 250 becomes 290, and Gravity Mountain brings Stage 2's Light Dragapult into your range. There's a decent amount of single prizers to at least consider from Ascended Heroes. First though, the reason you don't want the new Totodile and Tepig for any Feraligatr or Emboar deck is that they each have 80 hit points, putting them out of Poffin range. As for the Stage 1s, the new Crocodile has a better attack, but the old one only needs 1 energy and has a hit and run effect, which pairs better with the Feraligatr deck. And the old Pignite is better because it has a single energy attack and does 80 damage, while the new one only does 70 and burns. Moving along, before I could read, I thought Frostmouth would be a great partner for Mega Froslass. Then I realized it needed to be in the active to force your opponent to draw a card. This absolutely tanked its usefulness, causing it to do nothing in Japan. Still, if you want to try Froslass a different way, this is it. If you're planning on playing a Lightning deck post-rotation, keep Tapu Koko in the back of your mind. For a single Lightning, its first attack is a Carmine, discarding your hand and drawing 5, which you can do on turn 1. As mentioned in a previous video, the new Psychic Rotom vastly improves the Rotom Tools deck. Add 2 copies of this guy, now you have a Psychic attacker and a way to fill up your bench turn 1 going second. At least early on in Japan, single prize decks are doing really well post-rotation. And one of those is Hop's Trevenant. If one of your Hops Pokemon was just knocked out, the Angry Tree does 130 damage. Add in Hop's Choice Band, Snorlax, and Postwick, that 130 turns into 220, all for 0 energy. And as an added bonus, you can hit Dragapult for weakness if Lily's Clefairy's in play. If Mega Lucario continues doing well post-rotation, a copy of Carbink might sneak into lists for the mirror. If Carbink's in play, it's both a fighting and psychic type. And when your opponent has 2 or fewer prizes remaining, it does 170 damage, perfectly one-shotting a Mega Lucario through weakness. You will have to Aura Jab to Carbink to power it up though, removing the surprise factor. Okidogi also slots into a Lucario deck, dealing 260 damage if they just knocked out your Mega. But again, they'll know what's coming. Double Fisting Kingambit seems like a fun deck idea. The old one takes instant KOs if they're slightly damaged, while the new one can deal up to 330 damage if they take in 5 prizes. It's firmly in the rogue category, but if you're bored in March waiting for rotation, feel free to try this out. As for the new Rayquaza, it's a Wayquaza for any deck running Eelektrik and Dragonite to one-shot Munkidori or help weaken a higher HP Mega. Finally, Komala and Tangela are both insanely powerful, it's just a Shaman the rest of Larry's and Erica's Pokemon aren't. You will need Komala to accelerate energy to the Dunsparce though, while Tangela means you don't really need to play with your balls in a Vileplume EX or Victory Bell deck. Despite Ascended Heroes being literally the biggest English set in history, once you subtract the cards given away in the Battle Pass free decks, there's only 11 new ones worth crafting from it. And if I know how to count correctly, you need less than 4,000 credits to own all of them on TCG Live. It will fluctuate a little based on the currently unknown rarities of cards, but considering that we're not too far removed from needing 20,000 credits to get all the best cards from a set, you can pretty much own all of these within a few days of set launch from simply grinding the Battle Pass. As promised, here's just the new cards coming in Ascended Heroes. While you look upon my beautiful creation, let me say that I did the math, and believe it or not, this set has 130 new cards in it. 10 of them are Megas, 13 are regular EXs, and just 9 are Trainers. Compare this to Perfect Order, a main set, which will have 88 cards in it on March 26, only 4 of which are Megas. The Pokemon Company did say there'd be 9 EXs in Perfect Order, but I've looked into it and the math ain't mathin' because there's only 5 possible EXs we could get. So it's likely they pulled some shenanigans and combined Megas and regular EXs to get that 9 total, making it seem like Perfect Order is better than it is. Things won't improve with our May set, which according to leaks will have 2 less cards at 86. And I don't know if you've let me leak all over you yet, but the supposed Megas coming in what might be known as Chaos Rising aren't exactly needle movers. I will note that I included Psyduck and Golduck in the new cards list for Ascended Heroes because previously they were only available as super hard to find promos. Now for Psyduck specifically, the price is going to drop from $15 to probably $1.50 to probably 15 cents in the next month or two. Of course, these 2 cards led to a symmetrical problem with the set list, so I left Urbane and Waitress off at the end because they don't deserve their own page. As a quick reminder, Ascended Heroes is out on Thursday, January 29th on Pokemon TCG Live. I'll be streaming the new set most days on Twitch with gameplay videos posted here on YouTube shortly after. And if you have any fun deck ideas you think I should try, post them in the comments below.